Yise is already on edge when the spar starts, and what should have been a clean exchange turns into a scramble. The blue-haired fighter even blurts out that he tripped, which makes the whole thing feel less like a polished duel and more like two kids trying to prove they belong in a brutal world. Yise says, I just tripped because I messed up. As the spar turns serious, Yise starts reading his opponent well enough to keep slipping past every attack. That's when the chapter lays down the big rule: demon exorcising arts only work when you combine knowledge with martial skill, because human bodies can't brute force their way through demon bodies on their own. Unknown says, what allows them to overcome that limit? The chapter zooms in on the idea with a training breakdown. If you know your opponent's attacks and vital points, the impossible starts looking possible. But it also slams the brakes on that hope by reminding Yise that knowledge means nothing if his strikes can't actually land. Unknown says, yes, knowledge. Now the lesson becomes a real fight, and the bodies start flying around the room instead of staying in theory. The black-haired man in the white shirt gets forced backward while the narration keeps pushing the same point: precision is what gives demon exorcising arts a shot at working at all. Unknown says, just like in this sparring match. The battle keeps racing forward, but the real point is what the narration keeps stressing: only when knowledge and martial prowess become second nature does the technique finally work. So instead of handing Yise an instant win, the chapter makes his growth feel like a grind he still has to earn. Unknown says, only then will. Once that gets out, the Dakibi react like they've seen something rare, because Yise can hunt demons with a human body. The chapter cools down just enough to tease the bigger setting too, dropping the demon hunting title and reminding us that this whole world runs on demon extermination. Unknown says, you be able to hunt demons, even with a human body. Then the story swings into the Dakibi's own politics, and Mongryeon lays it out plainly: she keeps going on demon hunts to help humans and show that the Dakibi are safe. That makes her connection to Yise feel even bigger, because now his training is tied to the way the whole faction wants to be seen. Mongryeon says, by helping humans who are suffering because of demons. That praise lands right on Yise, because everyone starts talking about how he beat Yise after just 1 year. And the biggest thing isn't even the spar result anymore, it's that Yise finally calls him by his name, which makes Yise swear he'll work harder and not lose next time. Yise says, I'll work hard too, so I don't lose next time. Donna jumps in with her own teasing, and suddenly the whole group is acting like Yise's grudging brotherly recognition is a huge event. It's funny, but it also shows Yise getting pulled deeper into their weird family-style dynamic without even trying. Mongryeon says, you've truly grown up, Yise. One of them snaps that he only pretended not to be close to Yise because Yise used to hate him, and the mood flips straight from teasing into impact. By the time someone shouts, that I'm doing this because I feel like it, the joke has already become a real clash. After that messy family fight, the chapter gives Guizu Temple a quiet night breath. Under the moon, Yise ends up in the weapon storage, staring at racks of pole weapons and wondering if they're really allowed to just wander in like this. Unknown says, are we allowed to just come in here whenever we want? The quiet doesn't last long, because the older kids push Yise to pick a weapon and settle things with a demon hunt outside Guizu Temple. When someone warns them not to rush out, they wave it off as a child ghost problem, and now the trip outside feels like a dare instead of a lesson. Yise says, don't just stand around there, human. He warns that it's dangerous to decide it's a child ghost without proof, says there are more than 10 kinds of demons that can make those sounds, and the argument only gets hotter from there. But even with that warning, the group keeps pressing forward, because Yise didn't come to Guizu Temple to hide from the first thing he hears in the dark. One voice calls the cautious reaction pathetic, another declares his demon hunter blood is boiling, and someone even threatens the problem with a spiked iron club before saying hunting demons is a trial before becoming an adult Dakibi. What started as fear turns into overconfident bravado, and now the hunt feels less like a simple patrol and more like a rite of passage for the Dakibi kids. One of them cheers that they'll become demon hunters too, but the mood flips when the others mock a hand axe, joke that they're not chopping firewood, and keep taunting Yise as the first-time human in the group. He admits he touched a demon corpse when he was little, and that memory hardens into a promise. He'll show the difference in demon exorcising arts and make up for losing the sparring match. Even then, the others keep arguing over whether they're chasing a child ghost or a demon in disguise. Footsteps creep through the forest, the group braces for the worst case, and then a monstrous face suddenly bursts into view with a huge open mouth and sharp teeth. The search is no longer hypothetical now, because something genuinely monstrous has answered the noise in the dark. And then the chapter goes fully nightmare mode. A skull-covered beast, a red-black blast, and a grotesque claw all crowd the last stretch, so whatever came out of the dark is way beyond a simple patrol problem now. Unknown says, UWA. So by the end of this chapter, Yise has gone from stubborn trainee to someone standing in a real demon hunt with people who are still half joking and half terrified. He's got the lesson, the weapon, the pressure, and the monster now, so the only thing left is whether he can keep turning all that pain into a clean kill.